Alrighty, folks, we are live. Welcome, welcome. Great to be on here. And yes, we are live again from my phone, which we don't do that often. So just want to make sure everything is in working order so we could proceed and continue with today's live stream. Alright, so we do sound good on my end. How do we sound on your end, folks? Let me know in the live chat. We should be good. Awesome, awesome. So we do have some people hopping on, and we should be good to go. All right, we have a lot of people hopping on here. Welcome back, everyone. It is late Saturday evening, probably Sunday morning by the time you're getting to this. However, this is earlier than our normal start times for our live, so we may have some people hopping on the live version as opposed to the replay more than normal, which is great to see and great to have you all on. So with that being said, guys, we're talking about an interesting topic in today's live stream, something that the president has now put forth into the open for discussion. A topic that from my memory, I cannot recall this ever being discussed by a president in the history of the country. Maybe Obama touched on it. I know for a fact that Trump never talked about this. Maybe if you look at the more recent years of Obama's presidency, perhaps he did touch on this. But from my recollection, from my memory, I don't believe any president has ever talked about this topic. And the fact is that it affects so many Americans, and I think no matter where you come from, no matter your status in the hierarchy, financially, I think you've all experienced this, but obviously, certainly, it affects the lower and poorer Americans more so, not just the United States of America, but obviously the country, or rather the world. And it's an interesting topic, again, that really afflicts the working class, right? And Biden really touched on a lot of issues and scenarios. He pointed out a lot of circumstances and situations where you might have run into this. Maybe you didn't think it was necessarily your fault. Maybe you did everything right, and maybe you planned everything accordingly, but still you were affected by this. So I think it really affects Americans from all walks of life. And the fact that the president is talking about this is great. However, it is certainly politically motivated, especially right before the midterm elections. Obviously, this is political talk, and it probably was not his idea to put this forth. It was probably someone in his cabinet, maybe the vice president, who knows, but it certainly was not the president himself that thought, hey, let's talk about this issue today. This is super important. I just cannot foresee that happening, especially someone that is certainly not in a working class or lower class of a citizen and is that of age, right? I don't think Biden would be the number one candidate to necessarily talk about this issue. But nonetheless, it is still great that he has brought it up and has really put it out there to now be open for discussion. Now, did he necessarily sign a piece of legislation? No, he did not do that. But he has pledged that he will take action on this. Granted, will it be before the midterm elections? I don't think so. I think right now, just everyone is in campaign mode, and there's really no more time for taking action unless he's got any surprises up his sleeve. Maybe an October surprise, a reverse October surprise, right? Usually October surprise refers to something negative, something that's released against a candidate, someone that's running for office. But maybe in this case it's a positive in October, or rather Biden has something up his sleeve this October to pull out, and he will sign some more legislation right in time. So with that being said, guys, let's get started and dive right in. Before we do, obviously, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button. I'd appreciate that. Appreciate your support so much. If this video gets to 500 likes, we'll do a cash giveaway where we give away $100 to a few of you, lucky subscribers. And also make sure you are subscribed and notifications turned on. So important, because once we get 20,000 subscribers, which might be around the corner, we will do another cash giveaway where we give away double the amount of cash that we gave at 10,000 subscribers. And we have so many new faces hopping on from the previous live stream that did quite well. So thank you to everyone that supported that video and the momentum that video got. Appreciate all of your support and everyone hopping on board in recent days, as well as everyone that's been with us since day one. We appreciate you all. So don't want to spend too much time on the intro there. Let's get started and dive right in. Well, President Joe Biden, and a lot of people are talking about this, ways, a lot of people have been approaching me, commenting, saying, what's this new bill, or at least they think it's a bill, that Biden has announced. So the fact is, it's not necessarily a bill, but a bill could come soon. So Biden pledged this week to crack down on surprise fees that consumers are forced to pay on cable bills, hotel rooms, concert tickets. This especially uh, is the case when it comes to financial regulators and bank fees for bounce checks and overdrafts. Right, that was declared unfair. Okay, and Biden said these are quote junk fees, and that they benefit big corporations, not consumers, not working families, and that changes now. That's what he told reporters at the Eisenhower Executive Office building. And I'm sure all of you, before they were declared unfair, and basically no bank, I can't point to a bank that is still doing overdraft fees. All the major institutions are not doing overdraft fees anymore, that it's pretty much obsolete. And I'm sure, though, just a few years ago and before that, you guys, myself included, when I was a heavy spender and I didn't necessarily manage my money that well as I am now, wasn't the astute investor that I am when I was a teenager. And, certainly my teenage self would need to have a talking to by my future self, by my present self, in regards to that spending and watching the balance. And certainly I have had experience with overdraft fees in the past. Now, luckily, there are ways to get those waived, right? So probably if you ask your institution, your bank, they will probably waive it. But on the second, third, fourth go around, certainly that may not be the case. So that is just some words of wisdom there for you guys that may be still dealing with overdraft fees. So Biden signaled his administration would look at concert tickets, hotels, and airfares shortly after the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFBP, or rather CFPB, issued guidance that surprise overdraft fees and unexpected depositor fees for bounce checks are likely unlawful. The White House said that the move could eliminate billions in banking fees, which certainly would mean billions in lost revenue for banks alone. Now we get into, obviously, all the other areas where fees are found. Everything like your cell phone bill, you could find fees there. There are just so many products and services that really hit you with these surprise fees, and Biden wants to crack down on these. And overdraft fees can catch consumers off guard when their online accounts still show a positive balance, while some customers may find that they owe a fee for depositing a check they didn't know was bad, according to the CFPB. So, like I said, in the beginning of this video, you might have done everything right. You might have planned accordingly. You might have said, I have X amount in the account and Y is coming out, so I should be good to go. But unfortunately, there's sometimes delays in how your bank processes transactions, and that's where you could be hit with an overdraft fee. And then also that scenario where depositing a check that they didn't know was a bad check. That could be also another situation. So the agency said that both fees would likely violate the Consumer Financial Protections Act, and it would be their prohibition on unfair fees that are unavoidable to consumers. That is the area or section of the act in which they believe is a violation. And in a fact sheet, the White House noted that bank overdraft and non-sufficient funds fees accounted for an estimated $15.5 billion in revenue for banks in the year 2019 alone. 15.5 billion just in fees, having nothing to do with their normal business, just fees alone. That is quite insane and ludicrous, if you ask me. Now, pressure by the regulator pushed revenue from such fees down 90% at Bank of America this summer. So there's definitely some good coming out of this, and the crackdown has seemed to be working over these last handful of years. It seems like we're finally getting to a point where these fees might be obsolete and ultimately gone. Now, Biden added that the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, had started work on a rule last week to crack down on unfair and deceptive fees across all industries. And he cited processing fees for concert tickets and resort fees at hotels as two items that his administration is examining. He said, quote, we're just getting started. There's tens of billions of dollars in other junk fees across the economy that I'm directing my administration to reduce or eliminate. And Live Nation Entertainment said in a statement, quote, we applauded President Biden's advocacy for fee transparency in every industry, including live event ticketing. And they also wanted to say that this only works if all ticketing marketplaces go all in together so that consumers truly have an accurate comparison as they shop for tickets, Live Nation owns Ticketmaster, right? And those shares fell during this week ahead of or after President Biden's announcement, his speech. So, kind of odd there, Live Nation saying that they applaud President Biden's advocacy and his transparency, or at least his advocacy for fee transparency. However, they are one of the largest predators when it comes to those fees and surprise costs. So they have some explaining to do for themselves. That is a hypocritical remark from Live Nation. Now, Biden's remarks follow a meeting that the White House Competition Council held last month, and in which he ordered federal agencies to take steps to reduce or eliminate hidden fees, charges, and add-on costs, which he said were weighing on family budgets. And the administration has come under intense pressure to tamp down inflation that has obviously hit 4-decade highs, and that is why Biden is probably trying all angles here, right? He's just trying to see whatever it could be done to hopefully ease some pain for American families and households. And so maybe instead of trying to bring prices down, which a lot of his efforts have proved fruitless and unsuccessful, I think maybe this is an angle that the administration has come up with and curated where they could perhaps try to mitigate some relief for families. And so I guess, the Biden administration and the White House is just pulling all stops here in an effort to provide relief for families and try to get those prices down. And this is just one way that they are trying to do so. So hopefully Biden does sign some legislation on this and perhaps does take some action that would basically officially declare any fees and surprise costs illegal and must be eliminated, at least in the U.S. That is a tall order, and it's a large task for the Biden administration to do, and could also be looked at as anti-capitalistic, right? I think a lot of advocacy groups and politicians that are very pro-free market and capitalism may go after this and may say that, look, now the government is stepping into our businesses and is regulating them to an extent where this might be seen as socialistic or even communist. So who knows if Biden even wants to go that route. I think it may end up hurting him if this might be seen as an overstep, and I'm sure there will be a lot of lawsuits and litigations against this action. Obviously, Biden has already seen his share of litigation just recently with that judge trying or temporarily blocking the student loan debt relief. Certainly, Biden is no stranger to being called a socialist and overstepping within his governmental power. So this would just be another iteration, another chapter in that series of government overreach, which may be seen as and viewed as by many, many Americans. So at the end of the day, guys, do you think this is fair? Do you think that the president should be dipping his toe into this sector and trying to eliminate fees, not just when it comes to surprise overdraft fees, but rather just any fees and costs that you may have not expected that appeared on the phone bill or maybe when you were buying something? Do you think this is fair? Do you think the president should be, having power in these areas in our life? Do you think this is an overreach, or do you think that he's doing the right thing here? So let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the live chat and the comment section. I'm curious to hear. This is definitely an interesting topic, and we will see if the president takes action on this before the midterm elections, but obviously this is politically motivated. I don't think he would necessarily be talking about this if it was 6 months, a year into his presidency. I think the timing of this just proves once again that the president might be trying to cram in some action right before the midterm elections and hopefully trying to win some approval among groups. And obviously this affects young people too, right? Certainly of all ages, they have been hit with these fees, but when you look at younger people, Gen Z, millennials, and want to buy a ticket for a concert or maybe their phone bill, they get hit with ridiculous fees. Certainly this could be more geared towards the younger group and people of lower income and lower status. That's what Biden could be doing here, trying to win the votes of some of the youth. Whether or not it's going to work, we'll see what happens. I think Biden has already targeted a lot of that between student loans, between the marijuana, and now with the fees here, and certainly other pieces of legislation that he's put forward. I think they've been very much targeted towards younger and lower income people. And this is just the latest iteration of that. So, what are your thoughts, guys? Do you think Biden's going to move forward with this? Do you think it's all talk? Do you think it's all just political talk to try to keep the Democrats in office and, maybe have more promises that may not be fulfilled here? Who knows? We'll see what happens. But let us know your predictions and thoughts down below in the comment section and live chat. We'll have more updates for you guys as it does get closer to the midterm elections. This is your one-stop shop. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got value out of it. If you did, smash the like button. I'd appreciate that. Share this video with a friend, with a family member. Spread it on social media. I would appreciate that support as well. And make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. Thank you so much. And also, if you want to get some free stocks, only go free, use the links down below in the description of this video. Sign up with your brokerage platforms, Robinhood and or Webull. You'll get some free stocks, some valued up to thousands of dollars in some cases. So let us know what stocks you get. And if you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Instagram, I am on TikTok, I am on Facebook. Use the social links down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care for now, and thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you.